Today I'm taking old favorites and pushing them a little further. I tried a new technique on mile-high biscuits, used my English muffin dough for pizza, which actually turned out so good, and made a one-pot dinner. Well, almost. The pasta still had to be cooked separately, and we wrapped it all up celebrating a son's birthday with the most delicious homemade cake. After 3 weeks of being in North Carolina every weekend, we finally made back to our farm in Virginia. And I couldn't wait to get back in my kitchen and try new recipes and try new techniques and to share with you all. I have been eyeing this new recipe for a mile-high biscuit, although I have my favorite recipe already for a biscuit, which I use 1 stick of butter, 2 cups of self-rising flour, and 3/4 cup of buttermilk. This mile-high recipe for a biscuit had a whole lot more ingredients, but it also had the most unique layering technique to add layers to a biscuit, so I just had to try it. I started out by measuring all the dry ingredients first and adding them and mixing them together in a big bowl. So I started out with measuring 4 cups of all-purpose flour, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of salt, and 1 tablespoon of sugar. You mix everything up, and then I move on to working with butter. I prefer to use frozen butter for my biscuits, but I wanted to follow this recipe to a T, and so I use just refrigerated butter. Now, the reason I use frozen butter is because if you use regular butter, it blends in too much into the flour, and you lose those steam pockets when it cooks. And so as a result, you get dense cake-like and not flaky biscuits. This particular recipe stated that after grating your butter into the flour and mixing it, you want to put your mixture back in the fridge for about 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, you want to bring your mixture out of the fridge and add 1 1/4 cup of cold buttermilk. Mix everything together, and then you can start layering your biscuit. And this is where it gets really interesting. So here's where most people mess up biscuits. So once the buttermilk goes in, don't overmix it. It should look rough and not perfect. That's how you keep those biscuits soft. Now, instead of kneading, I'm folding the dough over itself a few times, and those layers of butter are what makes biscuits rise and get flaky. So the less you handle it, the better they turn out. So this is great in theory, and this is exactly how I approach my biscuit recipe that I normally use. For this recipe though, I did feel like I had to stack and turn one too many times. And my concern was that my biscuits would be a little bit on the tougher end, like they would rise because they have layers, but they would not be quite as soft because of me handling butter too long and getting it too warm. The biscuits on the video where I found this recipe looked amazing and tall, so I decided to just trust the process, go along, and see what happens. And you know that your dough is ready when it no longer crumbles when you layer and stack on top of each other. I did not want to cut any footage from showing how many times it took me to layer and turn, because I truly wanted you to see how long it took me. And honestly, at this point, I started to question whether it's really worth it. By this point, my family was getting a little hungry that it's taken me that long to make biscuits, but I told them that it would be the best biscuits that they have ever had. When the dough finally came together and rolled out smoothly, I used my biscuit cutter to cut pretty thick biscuits. I would say it was definitely over 1 inch thick. And all the leftover scraps, I just kind of gathered them together and made a ball and then rolled it out using my pin and used the cutter to cut more biscuits. I already found another kicker in this recipe. Just when I thought I was going to be ready to go ahead and put my biscuits in the oven, I read the recipe and it said that after shaping my biscuits, because the dough has been handled so much from rolling and turning and layering that I had to put the biscuits back in the fridge for another 30 minutes. At this point, I was getting hungry and I was thinking to myself, this better be the best biscuits that I have ever had. So this biscuit recipe also differs from my personal recipe, is that instead of using butter to brush the tops of the biscuits, they recommended to use egg wash and to sprinkle the top with a little bit of sugar. Then I baked the biscuits at 425 for about 10 to 15 minutes. Because I used egg wash instead of butter, just like the recipe suggested, I thought that the tops of my biscuits were a little bit too brown. Now, was all this work worth it? Did my biscuits rise? Yes. Did they have layers? Yes. But did this taste any better than my original recipe that I used from the back of the self-rising flour packaging? No. I use a different layering techniques, which I feel like way quicker, and my biscuit tastes just as good. And I will add the recipe for this particular biscuit that we just made in the description of this video. And I also will link a video that shows how to make step-by-step the biscuits that I generally make every weekend for my family. Since I was in the mood for testing and exploring new techniques or recipes, I decided to try to use my recipe for English muffins and try to make pizza dough with it. Last week, I shared with you the most delicious English muffin recipe that's like melt in your mouth and taste way better than store-bought. I will also link the recipe in my description. So I decided, why not try to make pizza with it? I mixed the dough, I let it rise for about an hour and a half, and then decided to divide into 4 pieces, thinking that I will get 4 pizzas out of it. As you can clearly see, I would not make a good Papa John's employee because I could not get myself to roll out this small little bowl of dough. So instead of making 4 pizzas, we're going to make 2 pizzas. They're just going to be bigger and maybe a little bit thicker. So I finally managed to stretch the dough out to fit the pizza pan. Only then, knowing that I needed to proof the dough, I realized that only 1 pan can fit in my oven. So instead, I decided to further experiment. So instead of letting both pizza doughs rise for 30 minutes, what would be the difference if I went ahead and par baked one and let the other rise? Would there be a difference in the thickness of my dough? Because this is English muffin dough and not standard pizza dough, I want to ensure that when I was par baking my dough, that my dough would bake all the way and didn't get too hot and burn, because generally speaking, pizza dough is baked at very high temps. So I par baked my dough at 375, and all that means is that I baked my dough for about 5 minutes and then added my ingredients, as opposed to putting it all together and baking at the same time. Then once I added all the ingredients, I baked at 425 for about 10 to 15 minutes. Now the second dough that did rise for 30 minutes ended up being too bready, and we all agreed that next time we'll just skip the second rise and bake it right after we shape the pizza. After my family enjoyed pizza, I knew that I needed to go ahead and put something in the oven for dinner because I had still more projects that I needed to accomplish by the end of the day. So I was excited to try this dump and bake stew meat recipe. To my baking dish, I added 2 packages of stew meat because we have a large family. Then I added chopped up 2 large carrots, 1 chopped up onion, about 5 chopped up garlic cloves, and then I added a bunch of seasoning. And you can add your favorite ones. I added 1 teaspoon of paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, salt, and about ½ teaspoon of pepper. Then I added 1/4 cup of flour and 3 generous tablespoons of tomato paste. Then I mixed everything up and added 2½ cups of beef broth. What I love about this dish is that after it cooked, it created its own sauce. And that's where the flour comes in play. It thickens up that sauce. I'm spoiling it. It was so delicious. Back to the recipe. When all the broth is added and you mix everything up, you want to cover it well with aluminum foil and bake it at 350 for about 3 hours. Now, you can check on the tenderness of your meat after about 2.5 hours, but I wanted to make sure that my meat was very tender, fall apart. You don't have to work hard at chewing it, and that's exactly what I got after baking it for 3 hours. While my meat was cooking, I quickly boiled some egg noodles and we ate it over egg noodles, but you can definitely eat it over rice. You can make homemade mashed potatoes. You can use whatever you like. But let me just tell you, if you're looking for a recipe that's very easy of just dumping in a casserole dish, mixing it up, and let the oven do all the work, this recipe will deliver. As I mentioned to you, I still had a few things that I needed to finish by the end of the night, and on my to-do list was to make a batch of oatmeal raisin cookies. I needed to deliver them the following morning as a thank you gift. So the plan was to mix up the dough, then form the cookies and put them in the fridge, and then bake them the following morning. I have shared this recipe in the past with you, so I will link it in the description, all the details of how I make it. But let me just tell you, this cookie is amazing. I have tried many oatmeal raisin recipes, and this particular individual for whom I'm baking absolutely loves them. And because I love my family and they love my oatmeal raisin cookies too, I decided to double the batch and make some for them to enjoy it this weekend as well. On March 27th, my firstborn was turning 13. I have a teenager in the house, so I also needed to make a cake. I was so exhausted by the end of the night that I did not get a chance to videotape the cake or how I made it. So I found an old video where I made this cake before, and it's called Russian honey cake. My son requested it. It's his favorite cake that I make, and everybody enjoyed it. This cake is truly one of a kind because I don't think there is anything that I can compare it to. And this is it, my friends. Come next week as I'll share more recipes, and I will see you on the next page.